Welcome. I'm Coach John McLaren. I'm with Freedom Nutrition Coaching, and today we're talking about 7 ways that you can boost your motivation. So motivation can be hard to come by sometimes. It's it can be fickle, it comes and goes in waves, but I want to show you some proven strategies that you can use to break out of a rut or even help you get started from scratch. And so my hope is at the end of this video, you'll feel empowered because you know that you can find and create motivation even within yourself to get healthier and stronger. So I want you to reflect on when you hear the word motivation, what is it that you think about? So for me, a simple definition is a willingness to put in effort to achieve a result. Call it get up and go. Although my mom used to joke, my get up and go got up and went. But I really want to encourage you, if you feel motivation to do something, to get curious about why it is that you're motivated to do that. For example, you're probably familiar with all of the amazing benefits of regular, consistent exercise. It lowers blood pressure, reduces risk of heart disease, improves mental health, helps you live a longer, happier life. So knowing these benefits, why then can it feel so hard sometimes to actually get up and get moving? And is motivation something that you struggle with? So if you think about what in your life helps you to be motivated, and maybe when do you feel most motivated? For example, maybe it's having a dog helps you to be motivated to get out and walk. Maybe you feel most motivated in the morning. Maybe it's coffee that helps you get going. So I want to share with you a quick story here. When I was a kid, teenager, of course, I loved playing video games. But my parents would say to me, you can't play video games until you've done your homework. Now, I don't like doing homework. Never did like doing homework. It wasn't something I wanted to do. I felt like teachers just did it to punish us poor kids and make us miserable. But I would do my homework because, of course, I wanted to play computer games. But really, the reason I was doing my homework because of an external motivation. It was outside of me. It was because my parents were basically giving me an incentive to do it. I didn't want to do it, and without that incentive, I wouldn't do it. Now, on the other hand, basketball was my favorite sport growing up. I loved to play basketball, and I played it because I enjoyed it. Rain, shine, sometimes even the snow, I'd get outside, I'd be shooting hoops. And so nobody needed to come up with an incentive for me to play basketball because it was just something I enjoyed. So I was internally motivated or intrinsically motivated. Now, what's interesting about motivation is whenever there's an immediate payoff, we're more likely to feel motivated into action. And that can actually be a double-edged sword with regards to certain high bliss foods and things like that. But really, as humans, it's hard for us to make a decision to take action when the reason for that is it's good for us over the long term. When there's no immediate payoff, if a doctor says, hey, you need to make some changes or in 3 to 5 years you might have a heart attack, well, it's easy to push that off because 3 to 5 years down the road still feels like quite a long ways down the road. But when there's an immediate payoff, we're more likely to take action. So when we do something active, for example, our brain will reward us with endorphins for being active. That is, endorphins are a type of feel-good hormone. Also, when we do something that we know is good for us, our brain will give us some dopamine as well, which is another feel-good or a pleasure neurotransmitter. So I'd like you to reflect on what would you do if you had more consistent motivation? If it feels like lack of motivation is a problem, if lack of motivation wasn't stopping you, what would you do? That's something really interesting to reflect on. And so I want to get into how can we practice cultivating motivation. So I want to share with you 7 ways to find or create motivation. But you don't have to choose all of them. And in fact, I would encourage you to just choose one. And then from there, of course, you can always come back and revisit this and maybe pick a different one. So number 1 is actually kind of something in reverse, and that is avoid making exercise about how you look. Hey, it's fine to have a goal. Maybe you want to lose 10, 20, 30 pounds, something like that. You want to tone up your arms, maybe you shrink the belly, that kind of thing. These are all good goals to have, really. But when we make something about how we look, the problem is we're always comparing ourselves to something that's in the future and something we have not yet achieved. And so each day, from the perspective of our brain, we failed to achieve this goal that we're trying to get. The payoff is, maybe 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, or even a year down the road. And so that can become really discouraging when we're trying to use that as the reason to motivate us. Now, on the other hand, if you make it about how you feel when you work out, there's actually an immediate payoff. So we can't necessarily control the outcome. For example, we can't say, well, because I started working out or being more active, I'm going to lose 30 pounds in 3 months. We can obviously influence the direction it goes in. But, instead of something like, I want to lose 20 pounds, a better motivator is going to be, going for a walk is going to make me feel awesome. Doing this workout is going to boost my mental health. There's an immediate payoff, right? So don't make your exercise or activity about how you look. Look for that immediate payoff. Number 2, find something that you actually enjoy. Remember, for me, nobody had to motivate me to play basketball. I really just enjoyed it. So exercise doesn't have to mean sweating in the gym or endless treadmill time, And maybe you could think about what are some non-gym exercises or activities that you enjoy. It could be indoors, outdoors, solo, in groups. For example, I like walking trails at my local park. Maybe you want to take some dance classes at your local YMCA or volunteer to walk dogs from your local animal shelter. We have this mental image that exercise is doing something that feels like a lot of work. And if it feels like it's just going to be a lot of work and we're not really going to enjoy it, we're less likely to do it. And we forget that you could go and take a walk in a beautiful park, and that's a type of exercise. So if you choose an activity that you genuinely enjoy, research shows you're much more likely to stick with it over time. So number 3, write down exactly when and where you will do something active or exercise. So there was a study where researchers put people into 3 groups, and they were all planning to start an exercise regimen. Group 1 got no information. Group 2 got, some standard information about the health benefits of exercise. Group 3 got given a form to fill in where they had to write down the time, day, and place that they were choosing where they would pledge to do activity for at least 20 minutes. And 2 weeks later, the researchers followed up. 91% of this third group had followed through. That is, 91% of the people who wrote down the time and place they were going to be active followed through, compared with less than 40% from the other 2 groups, the people who either got no information or just got told about the health benefits of exercise. So, number 4, become an early bird. So, we have a finite amount of willpower over the course of a day. And that willpower will get drained by decisions and activities throughout the day. To counter that, you can plan to work out in the morning before your willpower is depleted and before really life can get in the way. And studies have shown that it's easier to develop a healthy habit in the morning when your cortisol levels are higher because they're naturally higher in the mornings. And that gives you a little bit more of that get up and go feeling rather than my get up and go, got up and went. So number 5, have a plan B. So it's awesome to have a great plan, but you also want to expect setbacks. And that way, if it happens, you don't feel let down or discouraged or frustrated or upset. Instead, you have a contingency plan. And so what you can use is an if-then phrase. That can be really quite effective. So it could be something like, if I don't get up and go to the gym in the morning, then I will take a walk after dinner. Or if I can't go for a walk outside because it's raining, then I will do 10 minutes of physical activity inside. You can also use an if-then statement to tie a non-physical activity that you enjoy, maybe like listening to an audiobook, to a physical activity. Like, if I want to listen to an audiobook, then I will go for a walk. So using an if-then statement. So number 6, prioritize convenience. So one study found, for example, the shorter the distance to the gym, the more likely it was that members were going to go to the gym. So your environment can make a huge difference. If you set your workout clothes next to your bed the night before, or you keep your exercise equipment that's in your home visible and nearby, like a treadmill or exercise bike, if you keep it on the first floor as opposed to in a dark corner in your basement, you're much more likely to use it. So make it convenient and simple to get some activity in. And number 7, the last one I want to share with you is make it social. So you've heard it before, and that's true because research shows that this works. You're more likely to exercise consistently if you work out with other people. So there's a way that it kind of holds you accountable because you don't want to let them down by not showing up. But also on the plus side, you end up having more fun. So people who work out with a partner, they expend more effort. They spend almost twice as much time exercising as those who go alone. And so making it social and creating human connection around activity means you're much more likely to be motivated to do that. So now, as you're listening, I'm curious which of those that you found the most helpful. And of course, I'd love to hear about it if you're leaving a comment or a review. So, number one was avoid making exercise about how you look. Look for the immediate payoff instead. Number two, find an activity that you enjoy. Number three, write down exactly where and when you're going to exercise. Make it specific. Number four was become an early bird. You have more motivation in the morning than you do at the end of the day. Number five, have a plan B so that, setbacks don't send you off track. Number six, make it convenient. Prioritize convenience. And number seven was make it social. So for me, for example, I enjoyed the idea of prioritizing convenience. It reduces my excuses, which incidentally happens to rhyme. But I have like an exercise bike and a little treadmill outside of my office. So when I walk outside my office, I see them, and it happens to be the layout of my home that I can do that, for example. But what it means is it's harder for me to sort of bypass and not do some activity. So I really hope that you're inspired and encouraged as you see how you can find and create motivation. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you left a comment or a review, and make sure you click follow. Then you get notified when I post new videos. So thanks so much for following along. Take care. Have a great day.